Hello, family. Welcome back to Concrete Pastures. I am Nancy Mulemwasisi. Oh my God, as always, I'm always excited when we have an exceptional guest. I am super excited. First, guys, huh, we have a guest. I've been looking into this. His team reached out to me, and I was so excited to bring this out to you guys. And for all of you that are professionals, please listen up. This is your episode. And for anybody who's contemplating, looking to come to the US of A, this is your episode as well. So today we're talking about the EB1A Green Card. Hold on for it, okay? For anybody who's new, this is a platform where we highlight immigrants that have relocated to different countries in search of greener pastures. We share our stories of our various experiences and lessons we've learned along the way and offer new perspective on our journey of an immigrant. So whether you're currently an immigrant or soon or later to be an immigrant or just curious, come along with us on this journey and let's get a better understanding of what it really means to be an immigrant. A little bit about our guest today. Like I said, we are talking about the EB1A Green Card. And our guest, his name is Ranjeet Mudholkar's journey is more than a career. It's a calling to empower professionals in achieving the American dream. He is an architect of the Next League program to forge the extraordinary talent aiming for an EB1 green card. His path for securing the Einstein Visa is a record 7 days. I've never heard of this. I thought it takes longer than this, but we'll get into that one. Without an Oscar, Olympic, or a Nobel Prize, serves as a blueprint he shares with others. Welcome, Rajit. How are you?
I'm wonderful. What about you?
Good, good. That is just a little bit of your bio, and I'm just so excited for people to get to know you and how you got your visa and how you got into this EB1 A green card.
Well, it's not about, while, let me put it this way, Nancy, people look at EB1A as a mere green card. It is much more than that.
Got
It is
it.
essentially for people who want to move to USA. Now, normally for anybody, if USA, there is always a concept of sponsorship that is warranted for any green card in the USA. For
Mm-hmm.
example, you should have your brother sponsoring you, your sister sponsoring you, your parents sponsoring you, your relatives, or you should have a job. There is an exception, of course, that if you want to invest $1 million, so that's something which is called investor green card. That's a separate category altogether. Otherwise, essentially, you would need a sponsor for this actually, for any if you want to migrate to United States. However, there is a level of a green card. There are two green cards actually. There is one is called EB1A Green Card, where you don't need a sponsor. Essentially, what happens is based on your sheer expertise and what you are going to bring on the table uh, for the benefit of the United States, US is happy to kind of award you a green card practically instantaneously without any sponsorship, without any investments, or without any lottery. That's the kind of power that it holds. Originally, I mean, it is, I mean, assumed that, and it is Albert Einstein had also applied under the same category when he left Germany in 1940s.
Mm-hmm.
And that is why he got it based on his talent. He landed on the shore of United States and he had filled up a form. And under the same category, so it is called Einstein Visa.
Lovely. So before we even get into it, because I have a lot of questions that a lot of our listeners and viewers would love to ask you. Um, you are originally from India.
Yes.
How did you end up in the US?
Well, I always I was doing very well in India. I was
Mm-hmm.
Chief Executive Officer of Financial Planning Standards Board India. Things were going well, but beyond a point, I felt that there needs to be an opportunity to grow further. And I've somehow felt that I had reached a kind of a plateau out there in
Yeah.
terms of my professional career. And US, of course, I had a lot of friends before, I had a lot of relatives before, but
Hmm.
the wait period to come to the United States was another, for Indians especially, was another 20 to 30 years of waiting period actually. Now, that was a major challenge. And then I was doing some research on certain other possibilities and options that could be explored for Indians. Because what happens, Nancy, is there is also another caveat in law which says that roughly around 1 million people would immigrate to the United States each year. And there is there is another law which says that no more than 7% of a particular country can get to the USA. Are you with me on this?
I'm with
So,
you. Yeah.
yeah, so 7% there is a quota across all the people who come here, and people mostly from India, China, and Mexico are the maximum beneficiaries. So there are already close to 1.5 million people in the queue to come to United States from India. Now, either you are, I mean, I'm not going into each category of different possibilities that are there,
Yeah.
but essentially you are at the back of the queue. Once you, if today somebody were to, for example, if somebody would, get a, even if somebody were to get a sponsor, uh, one would take decades to actually become a green card holder in the United States. But, but if you have talent, if you have certain expertise which you can demonstrate to the US government, that would be in the interest of the US to kind of award you, and there are certain benefits that you will give to the US because of your presence in the US will open its arms to you actually. That's the way the whole equation is. Now, when I was there, I realized that my expertise was financial planning.
Okay.
Okay, now that was one of the ways in which I could possibly convince the US government that my presence would be beneficial to the US because I bring in certain talent, and I applied in my own accord, and fortunately US government accepted my request, and here I am.
That's amazing. Because a lot of people, I don't think they are aware of the EB1A Green Card. Everybody gets a B1, B2 visa, and then if you're a student, F1 and etc. The other, like the EB1, it's unheard of, and it's very rare that you get to apply for that. So could you share with us then how you managed you already shared how you managed to get the Einstein visa, but how did it take only 7 days? That's a record.
Okay, it's not a record actually. Normally, there are people whom I have come across, they might have got little shorter also. You see, the why people are not aware of it or people don't try because of it's very elusive. I mean, first, it's called as an Einstein visa because it's presumed that, oh, if Einstein got it, it means you need to be at the level of Einstein. The second is the law says that to get EB1A green card, you need to be a Nobel laureate, an Oscar awardee, or an Olympian. Now,
Yes.
it's a very straightforward law. But let's also understand, Nancy, that every field does not have Olympic, Nobel Prize, or Oscar. For example, you, Nancy, is a very good podcaster. If you were to, let's say you are sitting in other part of the world and you want to come to USA, how would you apply? Because there is no Nobel Prize for you, there is no Oscar for you, and there is no, Olympic for you. Then there are certain metrics that you have to prove that you are in the top 1% of your field of expertise.
Mm.
Now it's also, so this is the second issue. The first is it's called Einstein Visa. Second is the law says that you need to be Oscar and other things, Oscar, Olympic, or Nobel Prize. And the third is you really need to be the best in your field of expertise.
Got
Now,
it.
then that makes it very, very elusive and exclusive. Let's put it that way also. And some many people don't try. Now, another aspect, a fourth aspect of this is it's called Extraordinary Ability Green Card. EB1A would mean Extraordinary Ability Green Card. Now, when you say extraordinary ability, Einstein Visa, coupled with Nobel Prize, it creates a certain mindset in us that maybe it is not for us.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when I also saw this, I was also highly, if I may use the word, intimidated by the very name and the very nature of it. But rather than just thinking it to be an extraordinary ability green card, I thought this is an extraordinary opportunity for me to excel in the field and become the person what EB1A warrants. So that's what I said in the beginning, that don't look EB1A as a mere green card. It's a stamp of excellence by the US government upon you. So when Nancy would apply for EB1A green card, it is not because it's just a green card, it's because it is also an evidence to establish that Nancy is one of the world's, if I may say, not the world's, one of the world's best podcaster.
Oh, wow.
So if you are an IT expert, if you are a computer engineer, if you are a doctor, if you are a physiotherapist, you are an actor, you are a software developer, you are an app developer, you can use this opportunity to become the best version of yourself, become an expert in your field, and you could apply for EB1A green card. Otherwise, especially as I mentioned to you, that for people like India and other countries like China, the wait period is almost decade, 20, 30, 40 years. So this would definitely give you a quantum leap.
True that. Wow. So what inspired you on mentoring professionals to get this EB1A?
Oh, now what happened is a lot of people reach out to me. Once I had put on LinkedIn that, oh, I'm a green card holder through EB1A.
Yeah.
Now, I have always been an educationist all my life. At 24, I was the director of an institute called Symbiosis in India. I was running a business school with over 20,000 students. Then I was running a certification programs. I have done certain executive development programs. I would have coached and mentored over 50,000 people all my life across various facets.
Wow.
It could be directly, indirectly, it could be through various programs. So I have had an outreach. So how a professional success can be manifested into various realms for your own success or goals that you want to achieve. It could be for seeking promotions. It could be by seeking, if you are a manager, then how to become a director. If you're a director, how to become vice president. If you're a vice president, how to become a CEO. If you're a CEO, how to expand your horizons and businesses. In finance or financial planning, that was my I have always been an educationist. When many people started approaching me, I realized that this initiative could not be taken by mere ad hoc activity. Like I talk to you and tell you, oh, Nancy, you should do 1, 2, 3 things, and you become EB1A. It does not happen like this. So I genuinely wanted people to become the best version of themselves. As an educationist, I felt that it would be far better for me to commit on a full-time basis and help people to become the best version of themselves, and then kind of apply successfully for EB1A green card. And I mean, there is a marked difference between going to a lawyer and taking a coach first to become, because I don't offer legal services as a part of the program, but we do kind of refer them to various law firms who do a wonderful jobs to kind of assess their profiles when they are ready, actually. So we teach them all the aspect. First is that if you have to become a best podcaster, if you have to become a best software engineer, what you need to do that will possibly qualify yourself for EB1A, that is being kind of trained. So same, I am just kind of, this is what I did, and this is what inspired me to, kind of apply for EB1A green card.
So how long is the program? Let's say somebody is in Zambia, they want to apply for your program. How long is the program to prepare someone?
Okay, let me explain to you here. The program is of 6 months duration.
Okay.
Now, whether in 6 months you can become EB1A, the both answer is yes and no. I will tell you the reason for this. In my view, there are three dynamics to become an EB1A achiever. The first dynamics is you need to be expert in your field. First, you need to be best in your field. Now, if you are not best, please sharpen your saw. Please become an expert. If you're a podcaster, become the top 1% podcaster.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's if you're a software engineer, become the good software engineer. On the scale of 1 to 10, if you think you are at 7 or 8, you have to become 9 or 10. That's the first step. Now, many people may take time. We don't teach you expertise, but we tell you how to present your expertise. The second dimension for your EB1A success would be understanding what I would like to call it as EB1A Green Card jurisprudence. It means what US government is looking for. What is the genesis for this EB1A Green Card? What is the legal background behind it? How it is related to US Constitution? What is the motivation for US government to install this concept of EB1A Green Card? You need to understand this at the highest level possible. Because if you don't understand this, even if you are an expert, that is not going to help you. So, and the last dimension is how to present yourself. You need to present yourself. You need certain recommendation letters. You may need certain expert opinion letters. You may need to, draft your application properly, which lawyer may eventually do it, but how to gather evidences, what evidences to present in general. Now, 6 months will make you understand all the three things. Now, let us take an example. Let us say, Nancy, if you were in my program,
Yes.
now to actually get a green card, it may take a time for you. Some people have got it within 4 months, some people within 6 months, some people have taken even 1 year also. What happens is that, let us say we realize that you need to do, let's hypothetically assume that you need to do 60 podcasts. Let's say that 60 podcasts with certain number of people and the quality of people, which should have a certain degree of outreach or views.
Yes.
You know for sure your action plan is ready, but that may take 6 months, 8 months, 12 months. But in the 6 months program, you will get an absolute clarity of your thought, purpose, and action. Do you see that?
Mm-hmm.
So that's how this is a 6 months program.
I see. So it's each profession would have its own category.
Absolutely. And also depending on what age you are, what is your past experience? What are you bringing on the table? There are some past successes that you might have already have. So all the things that have to be put together, because the youngest person whom I have seen getting EB1A Green Card is 23-year-old. And there are people who are even at the age of 40, 50, they are struggling.
Oh, wow.
So it is a matter of how the interplay between these three dimensions, what I mentioned to you, that is, how good expert are you in your field? Do you understand the EB1A jurisprudence, and do you understand how to present yourself? You need to be master of all the three things together.
So how long is the EB1A green card? Like if someone acquires it, how long is it?
It's a permanent.
It's permanent.
Yeah, once you get a green card, it's permanent. You can apply after 5 years. I think, yeah, after 5 years, you can become a US passport holder also.
Got it. No,
It's
because the
not
regular green cards are 2 years, the first one they give you, and then 10 years. So this one is just, you have permanent resident.
Absolutely. You are on the verge of becoming. So US it basically implies that US has accepted your talents for its benefit, and US government is kind of happy to embrace you as your citizen after 5 years.
Yes. Oh, wow. So what sets you apart then from other programs? There's so many programs out there. Doing this research, when you guys reached out, I've seen so many programs about EBA1A, and people converting from EBA1B to EBA1A. What sets you guys apart?
Okay, no. You see, for any other green card, okay, mostly you would need a sponsorship. EB1A is a very, very unique program actually here. Now there is another green card called EB1B, which is for only for international researchers and scholars. So if you are a scholar, you would be the best qualified person for that.
Mm-hmm.
Then there is EB1C, that if you are an international manager, you can go for EB1C. But the challenge for all this is you need a sponsor. For EB1A, you don't need a sponsor. Sitting from your home, you can apply. Actually, you don't need it's called self-petition. You can just write an application and you can apply yourself actually. Like for example, in my case, I would, rather than looking for a sponsor or having some employer who could potentially sponsor me, I
Mm-hmm.
could just kind of on a piece of paper, I can just write a Word document, and at that time I could even file online actually. Now they have stopped online because of certain there are a lot of heavy documents you have to fill, but I could simply kind of apply in my own account and I could earn it actually. So the beauty is about self-petition and the purpose and to whom it is directed. In another interesting part, Nancy, it's going to surprise you, though it is called Einstein Visa, it is called Extraordinary Ability Green Card. For all other green cards, there is a minimum education qualification which is normally prescribed.
Mm.
Here for EB1A, there is no qualification prescribed. There are people who may not be even formally educated and they have got EB1A green card because they have proved themselves to be the world's best in their field. For example, you could be a dancer. There is one lady I saw from China who was a pottery expert. There is a chef from India. I don't think that person had a formal education. But in whatever you are doing in your endeavor, this actually goes from a philosophical perspective. It goes that education is not really mandatory for you to become the best version of yourself and to do something excel in your field of expertise. And there cannot be a better testimony than the fact that US government is ready to kind of recognize it and embrace you as your lawful permanent citizen, lawful permanent resident.
That's amazing that there's no formal education required.
In fact, you don't need a job, you don't need education. Let me give you another perspective for this.
Yeah.
Uh, it's called EB1A Extraordinary Ability Green Card. Okay. Now, what constitutes an extraordinary ability here? I mean, all of us are either relating ourselves to the job, all of us are relating ourselves to, our companies, our business title, our income, all the things we feel they define our abilities or skills.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But if you realize a truly extraordinary ability person is the one who can define himself without this. Now, let me give you for a sake of example, let's say we would define somebody truly extraordinary. Somebody could be a sports person, somebody could be intellectual. Let's say, take a case of Elon Musk, let us say.
Yeah.
World's richest man, $350 billion net worth. Let's say today, his degrees, his qualifications, his money is stripped off and he's standing on the middle of the road today. Let me promise you, Nancy, the caliber from where he comes from, in next 1 year, no matter you put him into any situation, he would bounce back and at least earn $1 billion in 1 year. Even if you strip him off everything. Now, here comes a question. If you're a software expert, and that you need to have that kind of a mental strength and confidence that even if you are working in the world's best companies, you may be working with Google, you may be working with Amazon, you may be working with eBay, any company that you're working with, is the company defining you or your contributions are being defined by the company? Even if you are from the Ivy Leagues, is that Ivy League defining your expertise, or you are even without that also you can stand? So I just gave you an example of Elon Musk. Does it matter what degrees does he having or what position you call him as a CEO or you're not a CEO? What doesn't matter. At a point of time you have to reach to a level of excellence where you realize that these are all paraphernalias actually. So they don't define you truly. You can stand on your own merit by virtue of your sheer expertise.
Oh, I love it. I love it. So what are you guys' goals? You own the company Next League Executive, Next League LLC, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You see, currently we are having we follow a particular process in the program. Let me tell you, it's a 4-step process.
Okay.
We take a journey to them. The first is we call it as a the whole process is called, first step is called a done process. The first step is define your expertise. So for the purpose of your EB1A, one of the most important aspect is you defining your expertise. The second most important aspect is that you have to organize an action plan. If you don't define your action plan, you just do something haphazardly, that is not going to work. As I said, in the first step, people define themselves by virtue, oh, I'm general manager, I'm a vice president, I'm a software engineer. They define themselves by virtue of their business titles or their education qualifications, not by virtue of your expertise. That's the right way to do it. Similarly, when you come about organize, you need to understand that what are the basic success metrics that define you as an expert. So we help people to do that. Now, if there are any gaps, the third step is called N, which is nurture. So define, organize, nurture, and the last step is called execute, which is we help you to reach out to good lawyers, to work with your lawyers to kind of help to kind of position you as one of the best. And it's a very, very intense process for us to kind of help people. So far in last 1 year, we have had over 13 people becoming EB1A achievers actually.
Lovely. Lovely. Because I can't imagine the amount of paperwork you guys have to collect or have your clients have to put together.
It's not about, we don't do the paperwork. We tell them, okay, how best you need to do it. It is a job of we help them to reach out to good lawyers actually who can potentially help them. But
Mm-hmm.
yes, there is a lot of, I would say, intensity and a lot of work that we need to do for someone to be helped to reach to a level of that excellence. It could, because we are seeing a trend wherein we are getting a lot of people from multiple domains and field of expertise. Somebody is a researcher, somebody is a PhD, somebody is an IT expert, somebody is a data scientist, somebody is an artificial intelligence expert, which is a buzz today. Somebody is a logistic expert. So we get people, even medical field, healthcare expert. So we are getting people across the board to help us out for this and to reach out to us for help. And we are happy to help as many people as we can.
So you have different experts helping someone, let's say in India, that is a researcher. They can help them in what is required.
No, it doesn't work like this, Nancy. We don't need multiple experts in their field.
Okay.
Being an educationist myself, what it constitutes to be an expert in that particular field, that can be, there is a standard model for knowledge management for that.
Okay.
Okay. Let me make you go through a little bit of flavor of what matters to become an expert. Okay. Now, what happens is that when we start learning something, we call it as a data. We are just absorbing things. So when we are, for example, when we go to schools, we are basically just absorbing things, which is called data. Simultaneously, the next level of learning is called information. So basically, data which is effectively presented or managed is called information. Now, the third thing is skill. So basically, if you go for a, we in our lives, we start learning skills also. Skills is an information in operation. So when you start using manual labor, you start moving your hands around, start using your brain, functionality, it becomes skill. After skill comes knowledge. So knowledge is like that answers you why. For example, somebody may be a electric engineer versus an electrician, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
Is an automobile engineer versus an auto mechanic. The auto mechanic is a skilled labor, while an automobile engineer would be a knowledge worker. Do you see the difference between the two?
Mm-hmm.
And then comes a wisdom, actually. So where do you apply that knowledge and how, when do you apply that knowledge? And this is called a disc, we call it disc matrix: data, information, skill, knowledge, and wisdom. Are you with me?
Yes.
Now, here what happens is, for the purpose of EB1A, no matter what your field is, no matter what your expertise is, you ideally should be at a knowledge spectrum. You cannot, let us say, for example, you cannot say that I am the world's best data entry operator or I am the world's best Excel user, because that is not going to help you for your EB1A. Even if Bill Gates gives you a letter of recommendation, that will not help you, because that does not help United States.
Got it.
So you need to be at a knowledge spectrum. So the key idea is that no matter what your field of expertise is, we try to extract what constitutes knowledge in your field of expertise. Just to give you a glimpse, when we talk of somebody being, let us say, Nancy is a good podcaster, what does a knowledge would mean to her? Is it, do you just have an information about being a good podcaster?
Mm.
Are you a skilled podcaster, or are you at a knowledge level also? The knowledge level would also imply that when you meet people, like you have come fully prepared with today's this thing, are you aware of what type of questions to be asked? Are you
Mm.
aware of the technology of the whole podcast? Are you aware of the human psychology of your audiences?
Yeah.
Now, these are some of the elements that once you reach to that level of excellence, uh, we can help you, and we try to take you from data to knowledge. I hope that makes sense.
No, that makes a lot of sense because I'm looking at all of the people in different professions that might be reaching out to you and how do you categorize that, but that makes sense.
Yeah, not only that, Nancy, what we also try to do is that, there are a lot of other metrics. Like, for
Mm,
example, you could become, get some awards also. So we have certain list of awards that you can apply. Then there are certain membership organizations at a premium level where you should be applying as an expert in your field.
mhm,
For example, you could write articles. There would be some kind of articles that you can potentially write. So what should be your audience? Can there be some media articles about you? What's your original contribution? Now, for example, as a podcaster, can you create a certain style which becomes a landmark style for people? A kind of, let us say, for example, I mean, obviously 20 years back we did not have podcasts, but we had stage shows like Oprah Winfrey show, or things like that,
yes,
TV shows. So those shows, I mean, you have to, what she had her own unique style of doing things.
mhm,
Now, for example, do you have you created some which is called original contribution? So you can cut across memberships, awards. You could be invited as a judge in some podcast also, possibly.
mhm.
There could be an original contribution. There could be a membership. How much are you earning as a podcaster would also possibly matter. Now, these are some of the metrics that can be assessed for this purpose of your EB1A. And first, to place you at a knowledge spectrum, and second is to kind of help you by virtue of defining certain success metrics for you.
Wow. So we have a lot of thank you for that. We have a lot of people in our immigrant community. Some of them came on B1, B2, different ways on how they came here. Is it possible for someone to convert their visa to getting the EB1A green card?
Absolutely. It's not about converting. It's about, first you have to apply by stating that you are an expert in this field. Okay.
Mm,
Once the US government approves your petition, you can be in any part of the world actually. You could be in any part of the world, and once you apply for the EP1A green card, then there is something called as a change of status. So if you are legally staying inside the USA, you could apply for change of status, which is very much possible. So answering your short answer to your question is yes, it is possible, but it is not that you tell the US government that I'm on, H1B visa or B1 visa and I want to change it. It is not, it doesn't change like this. You
Yeah.
have to first demonstrate your expertise, and yes, you can definitely become.
Oh, that's amazing. How about, I think I had some of your guests when you were hosting. Maybe someone might benefit from this question. Um, can someone also change their EB1B to EB1A?
Yes, we had certain people whom I have heard. You see, if you have your EB1B is already a green card, but
Yeah.
some people might have a challenge that they lose their jobs, and suddenly the sponsors may not allow them to kind of shift towards EB1A. I mean, with the EB1B may not be valid. The answer to that is it's not changed. They have to reapply. EB1A is not something that you can change to EB1A. It's that you have to reapply for the purpose of you earning your EB1A green card. So
Mm.
EB1B is a different category, which is I mentioned to you as it's like for international researchers, and
Okay.
you require a job for that. You need a sponsor, but many a times it may happen that you kind of are into various categories, but you could be laid off, or there could be some concerns. So if
Mhm.
that's the case, you can always kind of apply and kind of move to EB1A category. Yes, that's possible.
I see. Any challenges in this process?
I think what happens, that's a very good question. It's like if I may compare this with it's not an easy task first. It's full of challenges. Okay, because what you are trying to tell, Nancy, in this particular case, when you're applying for EB1A green card, is imagine you are presenting yourself to the White House and telling the man out there that, look, I'm Nancy. I know there are 1.5 million people waiting for the green cards. I'm
Mm-hmm.
best in my field, and please give me a green card because I'm an expert podcaster. This is what I bring on the table. You have to tell very specifically what you bring on the table for the United States.
Wow.
And please give me green card in 15 days or 20 days also, you can tell them. And please write on the green card that I'm a person, Nancy Silisi, person of extraordinary ability. Because at the end of the day, when the green card is issued to you, it says that you are a person of extraordinary ability. Now,
Wow.
remember, to reach this level of excellence is not going to be so easy. It's akin to, like, if I may not scare off people, but it is like, let's say you are trying to climb Mount Everest.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody can do it. So if you want, your next logical question will be who can do it, who cannot do it. Actually, everybody can try to do it. There are people unfortunately who have been handicaps. They have also been successfully reached the peak of Mount Everest.
Mm-hmm.
There are people who don't even get up in the morning and take a morning walk. So we have all, it's about your mental fitness, and it's about your zeal to perform the best in your field.
Sure.
And another interesting thing I'm going to tell you about this EB1A green card, that many people believe that EB1A is about their talents and their expertise. I think so far in the conversation, we have just mentioned that, okay, how good expert are you? You have to become the world's best expert. That is just half of the story. It's not about you being an expert. It's about what your expertise has done and impacted the world.
Mm.
Now that's a different level of story because it's not about you. And again, another example, I give you an example of Elon Musk. Like, okay, fine, even if he's stripped off of his education qualifications, he's stripped off of his degrees, of his wealth, he can bounce back. But there is another way to define whether one would be truly an extraordinary or not, is something, again, a more colloquial way, but I think that brings in a point very nicely, is you have to understand how would the world look like without you or without your impact? So truly extraordinary ability people are the ones, the world would be a very different place. Let's take case of again Elon Musk today. You, if Elon Musk were not even born today, you look at him, look at the world without that, there are a lot of things that the impact factor in this case is very huge. Now, here in this case, is that what is the impact factor that you have done by virtue of your expertise is what matters, not your expertise alone. You may be the world's best expert, but if you have not impacted the world, no one has benefited out of it. Why should US government give you a green card? So you need to have a sphere of influence, what I would like to call it, and how large is the sphere of influence would matter. Though it is not about the quantity of bigger the influence it should be, but how the intensity of the influence. I'm sorry. For example, if you are doing, let us assume that you are doing a podcast, you have a certain audience. How they have benefited from your impact. That would matter. Than how much money you are making, how many people you are reaching, that doesn't matter at all. You are a very good podcaster, you are a very knowledgeable, you ask right questions, but nobody is watching your podcast, nobody has benefit, it will not be helpful. I hope that makes a point.
No, it does make the point. It does make the point. I'm just thinking there's so many people who are making so much impact in their own countries. They might not touch the world,
Ah,
per se. And I don't know how someone would, I guess, put together a case for themselves as to, I want to impact the US as well. I'm an extraordinary person. Um, how would someone like that, because there's some who are just maybe their community, not even the country, let's say it's just their community that they're impacting. How can someone make a case for themselves in that way?
okay. I like your question actually, because it's not necessary that you should be an international leader in your expertise,
Mm,
but your depth of expertise has to be very deep and strong and intense. Now, what happens in this case is many a times some people may have a very small sphere of influence, as we are calling it. Maybe, as you rightly said, maybe a region, but they are really good. Maybe somebody is a professor in a university, but his research, he has done some. Let us say, for example, we get, let's say, a researcher sitting in India.
mm-hmm,
He may be just part of some medical school, but his research is very groundbreaking to an extent that he can, let us say, has a cure for cancer, certain type of cancer. Okay, but he may be working in some village also actually. But if a case is presented to the US saying that his sphere of influences can be very huge and US can benefit a lot out of this.
mm-hmm.
Okay, and this would be done by virtue of some kind of a recommendation letters from other experts in the field. This could be done by getting some expert opinions about his work and the caliber. Now, this is how a US government would get your basically your expertise, your work, and your impact factor gets validated.
Ah, that's amazing.
So
Okay,
that's the way. But how you need to present yourself, how you need to do things is something you learn in this program. That's what I said.
got it. That's really amazing that anybody who's making a difference in the world, they can apply and they're able to, test the American dream, like you say it. How long is, like, you say it's 6 months. Do you have any time of the year that you have these programs, or you do it individually?
So it's individually and in a group. So it could be one can join anytime. So that's not a problem.
Okay.
It's not an academic program, it's a coaching program.
Got it.
So it's a more on a one-on-one basis. There is a group sessions. We invite other immigration attorneys, immigration experts. We invite other EB1A achievers to come and deliver lectures. So
Oh,
it's a mix of all the things. It's not about, the whole program is not about our EB1A that we are trying to do here. Through the Next League program is not about that Ranjeet got it and so he will help Nancy to do it. It's not about that. It's about actually having a complete ecosystem that anybody who is an expert can come in and take benefit of this whole program and become the best version of themselves. Where, in fact, the whole program is structured in a manner where EB1A becomes a milestone in your journey.
I forgot to ask you, how long have you been doing this for?
Oh, I started this around September 2022.
And then how has been the success rate?
Oh,
Or
well, out of there was an independent audit also conducted on our program. So far, 16 people chose to apply. Out of them, 13 people have got EB1A Green Card.
That's amazing. That's amazing. From 16 to only and 13 got it.
Yeah.
But I know the immigration is not that easy.
I mean, it's about, people putting their learning to put their best foot forward,
Of
and we are
course.
happy to kind of, sometimes the expertise is not presented properly, sometimes the documentations are not there.
Mhm.
So there are three stages in this actually, Nancy. The first is that you have to become that person of excellence.
Yes.
Second is you need to gather all the evidences. And third is your lawyer needs to put all of them together and send it to USCIS.
How
So,
expensive is this?
I beg your pardon?
How expensive is this?
Well, I mean, it depends. It's customized, but I think it's not about expensive. It's about how much do you value your dream. I mean, it's about investment. How much? I mean, we always tell people spend hundreds of thousands of dollars in university.
Yeah.
Okay, get degrees. They have come here. They leave their homes. I mean, you just sacrifice maybe one trip or two trips to your home country. I think that should be good enough. This is far better because it's a fraction of the cost that you would have spent so far, actually.
No, I love it. I love it. I love everything you've shared. It's definitely something that I haven't heard in detail. I was aware of it, but not to this much detail. And I think it's something that's going to change our community in the immigration space. Uh, we are being listened to all over the world. So I am excited for anybody who's going to be reaching out to you. Anything else I haven't asked you about this program, and anything else that you're working on that you'd like to share with us?
No, no, absolutely good. There's nothing more, but obviously anybody wants to reach out, I will be giving you the link. You can put it in the below in
Mhm.
your podcast, and we'll be more than happy to help you because we want to reach out to maximum people.
Lovely.
And this is I mean, as I mentioned before, it's not about just another green card. It's about, a stamp of your excellence. So
Yes.
I personally think that if you're in the USA, if you're on a work visa, if you're on a student visa, if you're looking to fulfill your American dream, you should definitely try this actually.
No,
That
I
is
encourage for anybody who's looking to move outside their country and try it out. I think it's the best way to come. Getting your green card, I mean, it's the best thing. You can travel
absolutely,
back home. It's so much freedom with it. You get your
absolutely.
job quicker. Do you also help your clients acquire employment once they get the visa, the green card?
Well, you see, the question here is what happens is there are certain tools and techniques we give them, but the people are truly extraordinary in their own right. So many of them we have seen employers will queue up for them actually. So that's not a challenge for them because once they get their EB1A green card, I think that's not an issue at all. But yes, definitely we help them to kind of navigate through the employment process if they want actually us to help them.
Okay. No, that's good to know, just in case, anybody's gets their visa, their green card, and you just want to make sure that they acquire that dream job they want.
Absolutely. The whole idea is that you fulfill your American dream by applying for EB1A green card without lottery, without $1 million investment, or without a sponsor, and and get your dream job to the best of your satisfaction. That's the whole goal.
Listen, this has been such an honor to have you on, and I appreciate your expertise on the EB1A Green Card. It's definitely a game changer for anybody in the professional space. So feel free to reach out to Ranjeet. I'll have everything in the show notes. You can click away and reach out. And any social media handles, they can reach out on social media as well.
Absolutely.
Oh, lovely. It's been an honor to have you. Thank you so much.
It's our pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.